Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, and in this video, we're going to talk about this headline here that Yellowstone closed its West Thumb Geyser Basin after hazardous conditions. Here is a September 12th article on Outsider.com. This was covered a few places, but Yellowstone Park closes the West Thumb Geyser Basin until further notice due to hazardous fumes. Now, the dates are a little fuzzy here because this is a September 12th article that references a September 6th event. And, here's the website, the Yellowstone website, and it says that it reopens following the September 12th temporary closure. But I don't know. The dates are a little fuzzy, but it says here that the West Thumb Geyser Basin is located in the southern part of the park, and it will be closed until further notice due to hazardous conditions. Here's a map of the park. This is, if you come in the west entrance here, this is West Yellowstone, and you come in and you go south. This is about Old Faithful area here, and the West Thumb Geyser Basin is right about here. And if you go south down to here, you take about 30 miles of the John D. Rockefeller Junior Memorial Parkway, and then you head right into the Tetons. So it's just up from the Tetons in the southern part of the park, just a little bit, a little ways from Old Faithful. And what they say here is on Tuesday, September 6th, Northwest Energy staff reported smoke coming out of a small building near the bookstore that houses a solar battery energy storage system at the West Thumb Geyser Basin. Park structural fire crews were notified and dispatched to the location. They did not see any flames when they arrived, but there was smoke. The exterior of the building was not damaged. Battery fumes are corrosive and hazardous when inhaled. To ensure visitor and employee safety, the West Thumb Geyser Basin will be closed until the batteries have fully discharged the fumes and have dissipated from the area. They'll continue to monitor the situation. But then here, outdoors.com on September 24th, it says that they reopened. Now, I'm not, maybe they reopened on the 12th. Yeah. Structural damage or not, the September 12th closure, they're still referring to it as September 12th, but the park says September 6th. And they, in their first article, say about the September 6th event. So I'm not exactly sure about the dates here, but there was definitely a closure of the West Thumb Geyser Basin, and all the geyser basins are worth stopping in. They all have unique features, and so it will be reopened when it is deemed safe. And so this made headlines a few places, and then it gets people wondering about battery safety. So, well, actually, battery storage safety. So, I did a search in solarpowerworldonline.com, just how concerned should the solar industry be about battery fires. This is February 17th, 2020, so it's fairly recent. It says plane crashes happen every day, but people still fly. A television show showed us that crock pots can cause house fires, but we still use them. And the threat of energy storage systems causing or contributing to a building fire is also real, yet incredibly rare. But as adoption grows, life and property well-being will become larger concerns. And they talk about the different types of batteries, but the bottom line here is the end result of an accidental fire is the same: potential damage to the system and nearby surroundings and human life. Yeah, I'm not looking to try to get into details about different battery types here, just a nice general overview. So right here it says just because the likelihood, from different battery types is different doesn't mean the impact is different. Right here showing, what can happen. A structure can go up in flames. When doing installation design, you have to design for minimizing the likelihood of a fire. It's always good to look at the chemistry capabilities and balance how to mitigate the impact of whether that battery energy density is exactly what is needed for a particular application. Batteries that like cool constant temperatures shouldn't be installed outdoors in the desert. You know, Off-grid winter cabins might benefit from using lead acid batteries over the latest lithium product. Um, so it says folks have been treating batteries as a black box add-on to their equipment they're installing. There's now a realization that although there are no literal moving parts, there's a lot of different components that need to be managed and are delicate. There's a sort of awakening in the last year. We've called energy storage the Wild West, and it certainly is still in the early development stages, but there's a sheriff in town now. Oh, well, I guess that's good before, we're mandated to become all clean energy. So it says right here, if a battery is going to catch fire, the likely cause is thermal runaway. Um, this is when a battery experiences an increase in temperature that eventually leads to cell short circuiting or disintegration that can spark a fire. There are three main abuse factors that can send a battery into thermal runaway: mechanical, thermal, or electrical. Mechanical would be physically damaging the unit, which can generate gases or increase the heat of the battery cell. Thermal is heat related, which is air conditioning or airflow not reaching the cells, allowing heat to build up. Electrical abuse happens during overcharging, undercharging, or shorts from the inverter. Often the damage can be reversed if caught quickly. And they continue here. There is an opportunity once the abuse factor has been put onto the cells. If it's removed, then the thermal runaway condition may not occur, but there is a point of no return, the person said. So if not stopped, it will continue through the second order effects, which at its core is a release of potentially flammable gases. If there is an ignition source, that can then become a fire. If there's not an ignition source, these seminal gases can gather in large enough volumes that could result in explosive conditions. So, maybe it wasn't just the fumes that were a safety risk at Yellowstone, because if those gases had built up, potentially that building that the solar storage unit was in could have exploded. And further down they say, we suggest to space batteries out of the building. If there are fire breaks between each, then the fire cannot spread, cannot escape one rack. If you can contain the fire to a smaller spot, it's going to burn for a shorter duration and you can limit the damage. Another suggestion is installing a sprinkler system. Lithium-ion batteries do not react to water, so you can put a lot of water on them to cool them. It won't extinguish the fire, but it will stop the fire from spreading and jumping to other exposures. And here's another article, How Safe are Solar Battery Storage Systems, from solarquotes.com. It says the solar battery revolution will soon start really getting into gear in Australia. According to a survey carried out in 2017, safety is amongst the major concerns of Australians considering purchasing energy storage. This includes environmental safety issues when a battery system reaches the end of its service life. The thing about here is everything I've read about battery storage, it talks about the lithium ion and the lead acid batteries. No mention of hemp. But there is a company out there, I did a video about it a while ago, and they're looking to create hemp batteries. So I haven't, in the promotion I saw of hemp batteries, I didn't see anything about a fire risk. So, maybe what we need to do is embark upon the environmental education and agenda, number 5 of which is hemp. Nobody talks about hemp, but nobody talks about ending our disposable society in terms of environmental either, or gaining individual cooperation. The only thing anybody talks about is clean energy, and by anybody I mean the powers that are. And they have all been refusing the actual solutions the world needs. And maybe, maybe just maybe, if they had gotten their act together and allowed real solutions, Yellowstone wouldn't have had hazardous conditions at the West Thumb Geyser Basin. Maybe, we would have had hemp batteries going. And unfortunately, I did a video recently after the Yellowstone flooding event, and I asked the superintendent of the park to help lead the world environmentally and have his park concessionaires who are absolutely, they tell you that they're all about environmental solutions, but they've prevented them forever. And I asked the superintendent to get involved, and I still haven't heard back. But right now, Yellowstone, there's always things going on in Yellowstone. Okay, I mean, everybody heard about the floods this winter, and when people first saw the headlines about hazardous conditions, they have thought, of course, something to do with the thermal feature. But no, this had to do with Yellowstone being responsible, going for clean energy, their own clean energy system, and then having a problem with the solar battery energy storage system. That, but there was battery fumes, and they can be hazardous when inhaled. So I guess you just really never know what type of trouble you're going to run into at Yellowstone, whether it be, thermal, getting too close to a feature, or running into a wild animal, or just even being in the vicinity of their solar hazard storage system, because, no, solar storage energy storage system, which can, if it has trouble and has a fire, there can be hazardous fumes, and a whole entire area of the park can be shut down. So stay tuned, people.